Microsoft's detailing their holiday lineup, Phil does an interview about acquisitions, and the mini fridge is kinda here. We are looking down the alley of holiday shopping season. If you haven't gotten started already, honestly, I pretty much recommend that you do, especially if you've got kids, because getting things this holiday season seems like it's going to be much harder than it has been in previous years. So, that being said, Microsoft is out detailing the games that are going to be coming to the Xbox platform. Now, not all of this is new, but let's just dive into the news of the day, or what Microsoft is talking about. So, what did Microsoft actually announce today? Well, they put out a blog post that talks about the holiday lineup that they have coming down the pipeline. And first up in order of release is going to be Age of Empires 4, which is coming on October 28th. Now, the Age franchise has been around for, it seems like, almost as long as Microsoft, about 24-ish years or something like that. And it is, I suspect, going to be a massive seller for the company. I mean, I'm looking forward to playing Age of Empires. I played quite a bit back in the day. And so on October 28th, about 9 days from now, from the recording of this video, Age of Empires 4 will be launching on Steam and on Xbox Game Pass for PC on day one. Once again, really pushing that narrative that Microsoft wants everybody to be part of Game Pass, whether it be on the console, whether it be on the PC, whether it be anywhere. So be on the lookout for Age of Empires 4 on October 28th. Now, Microsoft is also announcing that Minecraft will join Xbox Game Pass for PC on November 2nd. I believe this was actually announced over the weekend, followed by new Minecraft Dungeon Seasonal Adventure Caves and Cliffs. Part 2 will be available later this year. So again, this is another Game Pass for PC narrative here with Minecraft and then obviously Age. Now, the other one, which we've known about for a while, but Forza Horizon 4 is going to be launching on November 9th, with early access on November 5th. We knew that Forza Horizon was launching this holiday season, and we know now officially on the 9th, and then the early access on the 5th. This is another one of those titles that I think is going to be huge. Early impressions have been not even just positive, overwhelmingly positive about how optimistic the game is. Not just the gameplay, not that it's some deep, dark narrative title or anything like that, but it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun, and I suspect that this is going to do exceptionally well for Microsoft. So that's a really kind of nice lineup for the company, where they have Age 4 on the PC, and then they also have Horizon 5, which is going to be on multiple platforms, but I think Horizon is going to potentially be a huge blockbuster hit for Microsoft this holiday season. Now, if that wasn't enough, Microsoft is also talking Microsoft Flight Simulator, if I could say that, Game of the Year Edition launches on November 19th, and this will have a bunch of stuff that's already sort of prepackaged in, including things like the Reno Air Races, which I think will be exceptionally fun. It's really looking forward to seeing how Microsoft continues to expand the flight simulator genre. We already know things like the Top Gun integration, although it looks like that's been delayed until the springtime. And so it's just another sort of proving ground, if you will, for Microsoft to say, hey, look, we have a base title such as Flight Sim, and they're going to keep adding on components and features and functionality and different game types and making Flight Sim just a more unique place to play. Now, the other big, massive title, which we all know about, some of us have even played some of it already in the multiplayer arena, is Halo Infinite, is officially launching on December 8th, which we all know, and I am looking exceptionally forward to this. I'm really interested in the campaign, but I would be lying if I didn't say I was really looking forward to that multiplayer. I really enjoyed the technical previews, or whatever they were calling the early access weekends that Microsoft and I always want to say Bungie, but 343 were providing, and I think it's going to be turning out to be a fun. I think it's going to be fun. I think there's a lot of in my limited preview play, so obviously this can't be a robust, deep technical review. It felt like it was more true to form. It reminded me of the older style Halo games. It didn't feel like there was too much going on. I think some of the middle titles, they always feel like they have to keep adding new mechanics and weapons and features and functionality, and sometimes it gets a little heavy. Call of Duty suffered from this exceptionally, is a very big and prominent title that suffered from something like this. And so Halo, I think, kind of went down that route, and it felt like this one, they clawed back things a little bit and made it a little bit more simpler, and more, it just felt like more authentic gunplay than we had felt potentially in some of the previous Halo titles. So really looking forward to that. And obviously I think like many other people, the campaign is going to be interesting too, mostly because as of right now, we don't know a whole lot about it. And so just, I think, understanding what is the actual campaign going to be like, how long is it going to be, what are the unique twists and turns that Microsoft is going to be trying to toss in there, will be a lot of fun to watch. So something else that Microsoft did announce in this is also on November 15th to celebrate the 20th anniversary of Xbox and Halo with a digital broadcast for fans. Now, they are kind of heading this up and saying they're not going to be like any major new announcements or anything like that, but look for something, a celebration, if you will, on November 15th. I suspect on that date, we will see a lot of nostalgia. We actually already saw really interesting stuff. Microsoft took the Xbox.com website and brought back the Blades interface. Many of you probably remember that. A lot of us think it was the most superior and best interface ever on the Xbox console. I don't know about that necessarily, but they turned the Xbox.com website into a Blade-style interface, which was really neat and fun to play with. Although, especially on the website, it's not the most attractive thing, especially aged like a fine wine, if you will, but not always a perfect wine. Anyways, so you can go check that out. Now, Phil Spencer did an interview this week, actually yesterday, on Wall Street Journal or WSJ Tech Live, and he got hit on two questions. There wasn't a ton that came out here, but I want to read what he said about acquisitions. On the acquisition question from the journalist, Phil responded, "We're definitely not done. There's no quota, no timeline where I have to go acquire studios by a certain time, but if we find a studio where we have a good fit, absolutely." And that's, right, walking straight down the line of things that they had said previously, of when they find the right studio, they're absolutely going to snatch them up. Microsoft effectively has unlimited resources when it comes to money, and so they can pay a pretty penny and make sure they acquire studios when the timing is right. So it's clear that he's saying, look, we're not done buying companies, but they're not giving anything. And then also, more specifically, on the 30 million front. Now, if you remember, was it last week or the week before, Phil was on an interview and another senior executive from another gaming company mentioned 30 million Game Pass subscribers, and Phil was like, hey, back off. It's actually 18 million. And so he got hit on that question again, and he walked the same line. He says, we're sticking with our last public number, 18 million, and we will announce another number at some point. Now, Microsoft is actually in a really fishy spot right now because of that 30 million quote unquote leak or not leak. Because now imagine Microsoft comes out and says, actually, we've got like 26 million. Then it looks like a huge whiff on something that another executive in the industry has heard and publicly put it out there during an interview, if you will. And so, yeah, we'll see what number Microsoft actually announces here. If they announce 30 million, I think they'd probably have to do it sooner rather than later, now that this number's out floating around. But then if they do that, that means that other individual was right. And then they're in this awkward position of like, do we want to acknowledge that somebody outside the company actually knew this information and we weren't sharing it publicly? It's a little awkward. It's a little awkward, I guess is the best way to say it. But anyways, those are the big things. Age 4 for Forza Horizon. We've got Infinite and a couple different Minecraft titles dropping here on the PC on Game Pass. We've also got Flight Sim. And then also today, they're going to be dropping the release on, I believe, Target.com for the Xbox mini fridge pre-orders. And I am here to tell you folks, I think this might be the most hyped release ever of an appliance. I've gotten more text messages and DMs saying, where's the link? And as of the recording of this, it's not actually live yet, so we don't know when Target will go, but I am telling you this, that if you want to get your dirty little paws on one, you're going to have to act quick. That is the only way you're going to get your hands on one of these things, because I think it's going to sell out significantly quickly. Excellent English. It's going to sell out really quick. So if you want an Xbox mini fridge and you see the pre-order, you better get on it. So there you go. That is your Tuesday news dump, and hopefully you enjoyed it. And if you want to enjoy more things, make sure to keep it subscribed here, because the only BS on this channel is me.